Hey children, have you ever thought about how a shirt gets to the store for you to buy? Like, where does it come from before it's hanging neatly in the shop? Well, today in the chapter of A Shirt in the Market, we will see this. First, let's see a cotton farmer in Kurnool. A typical farmer in Kurnool, Andhra Pradesh, cultivates cotton on a small plot. Harvesting ripe cotton balls, the farmer and family prepare for sale. Opting to sell through a local trader rather than the market, they've borrowed 2,500 rupees for cultivation. At the trader's yard, the cotton fetches 6,000 rupees but 3,000 rupees is deducted for loan repayment and interest. The farmer receives only 3,000 rupees, facing limited bargaining power against the influential trader. This situation highlights the vulnerability of small farmers, the power dynamics with local traders, and the financial struggles they face in the agricultural process. Now, let's see how the struggles of small farmers like the one in Kurnool connect to bigger market issues. Next up, we'll dive into the cloth market of Erode. Erode's cloth market in Tamil Nadu is globally recognized for its vastness, offering diverse clothing options, including those crafted by local weavers. Surrounding the market are merchants' offices that procure cloth from nearby villages. Traders from various South Indian towns also frequent the market. Weavers tailor custom cloth orders on market days as per merchant demands, facilitating a supply chain that connects them to garment manufacturers and exporters, ensuring a steady flow of cloth. Before we learn about how garments are made, let's understand how weavers work from their homes and the challenges they face. The weavers face some challenges in the production of clothes. They have to invest a lot of money to buy their looms, and they work really long hours, sometimes from sunrise to sunset. Despite all their hard work, they only make a modest amount of money after the expenses. So there is a system common in India among the weavers and the merchants called the putting out system. In this system, the merchants are like the middlemen who buy cloth from the weavers and sell it to garment factories. The merchants provide the yarn to the weavers, along with the design of the clothes to be made. Then the weavers make the clothes for the merchants who then sell these clothes in the market. This system has two advantages for the weavers. They do not have to buy the raw material, and the problem of selling the finished clothes is taken care of. But this system has disadvantages for the weavers too. Merchants sometimes think more about what they want, which isn't always fair to the weavers. Merchants hold more power in this system. They give orders for what is to be made and they pay a very low price for making the cloth. Let's head to the garment exporting factory near Delhi. The Erode merchant supplies cotton cloth made by weavers to a garment exporting factory near Delhi. The garment exporting factory uses the cloth to make shirts. Let's see the role of these factories and problems faced by them. The shirts made by these factories are then exported to foreign buyers. These foreign buyers from US and Europe run a chain of stores. These large stores do business strictly on their own terms. They demand the lowest prices from the supplier. In addition, they set high standards for quality of production and timely delivery. Any defects or delay in delivery is dealt with strictly. So, the exporter tries his best to meet the conditions set by these powerful buyers. These exporters then try to cut costs by getting maximum work out of the workers at the lowest possible wages. For example, Impex Garment Factory employs 70 workers, mostly women, with some being temporary employees. Among them, tailors are the highest paid workers, earning about 3,000 rupees per month, while women often perform low-wage tasks. After understanding the pressures on factories and workers, let's see how the shirts end up in the United States and the economics behind it. The business person purchased the shirts for 200 rupees per shirt. He spent 300 rupees on advertising and 100 rupees per shirt on storage and other charges. So, the total cost to him is 600 rupees per shirt. Since he sells each shirt for 1200 rupees, his profit per shirt is 600 rupees. For the garment exporter, cloth and raw materials, 70 rupees per shirt. Workers' wages, 15 rupees per shirt. Office expenses, 15 rupees per shirt. Total cost per shirt, 100 rupees. Since he sells each shirt for 200 rupees, his profit per shirt is 100 rupees. With all these numbers, let's reflect on the inequality in the market. The foreign business person makes huge profits. The garment exporter earns moderate profits. Workers' earnings at the garment export factory are just enough for daily needs. Small cotton farmers and weavers do not receive fair prices for their hard work. Merchants or traders earn more than weavers but less than the exporter. As we see, not everyone benefits equally. Finally, let's discuss how market opportunities can sometimes lead to exploitation and what it means for equality. Market offers opportunities for work and selling products. Rich and powerful usually get maximum earnings from the market. Poor depend on the rich for loans, raw materials, marketing, and employment. This dependence leads to exploitation in the market. Big companies from other countries make a lot of money, while local workers and farmers don't get paid enough for their hard work. Merchants earn some money, but not as much as the big exporters. This isn't fair and makes it hard for everyone to have equal chances. We need to work together and have strong rules to make sure everyone gets treated fairly in the market. We hope that you have understood the topic. You can now study chapter notes, watch video lectures, and solve MCQ tests of this chapter on Eduref to ensure you score well in your school exams. And that's not all, you also get amazing courses for maths, science, English, Hindi, and much more for class 7. Thank you.